guys, what's going on? We're just going to be talking about a valve clearance. This is going to be a video about a valve clearance adjustment for the Yamaha FZ10. And this isn't, I have some videos of actually showing how to get to the valve clearances, or to the valves, okay? This is just about the mathematical portion of the valve clearance adjustment. Alright, so we're just gonna start off with the valve clearance. So you're gonna want to know the intake and the exhaust clearances for your bike. Okay, for mine, the intake is 0.09 to 0.17 millimeters, and the exhaust is 0.2 to 0.26 millimeters. Okay, and then you're gonna want to write the exhaust shims and the exhaust clearances down, as you can see here. These are the shims and the clearances for all 4 cylinders. Okay, then you're gonna want to write all of these down. Okay, I'll tell you exactly what they all mean. So you take the exhausts and write them 1 through 8, because there's 8 valves for the exhaust. Then you want to write the clearances and the target clearances. Then you want to go write the printed shims that are on the shims on the valves that were on your bike. Okay, then you're going to use this formula, B minus C plus D equals E. And I have written exactly what all these mean. I am going to zoom in. Okay, there we go. So use this formula, as you can see right here. You're going to take the exhaust clearances minus the target clearances plus the printed shim size. Okay, and this will give you the required shim size that you need. And basically all this is doing is taking the difference of the exhaust and the target, and then you're adding it to the printed shim size. Okay, and as you can see, these are tighter valves, and you're taking a small number minus the bigger number, you're going to get a negative. When you add the negative, it's subtracting the difference from 1.85 with the printed shim size, and you gain the required shim size. Then you're going to want to do is use this chart up here. Okay, and this chart is the chart that is on the manual, and this is basically you're rounding these values up. And now for those of you who are going along this as I'm talking about it, and you guys have the manual right there and there, they actually put the 7 on the bottom and making it rounded to a 10 value, which doesn't make sense to me, because 7 is 2 away from 5 and 3 away from 10. So I put that back on the 5. Okay, so we're going to use this chart, and then we're going to convert the required shim sizes to the shims that you buy. Okay, as you can see, these are all rounded to the respective, except for this one, but I'll tell you why this one's different. I think you know. Okay, and then you're going to you want to kind of second check your work. Okay, and how to do this is you're going to take the printed shim size minus the new shims that you have plus the exhaust clearance that you got. This will give you the new adjusted clearance that you would get if you had these shims in your bike now. And as you can see, these are all within spec. Okay, and I have this guy here, which is basically shim size that you bought minus the target clearance, and basically all you want to see is that these are within 0.03 millimeters, because that will tell you that they are between 0.2 millimeters and 0.26 millimeters, because the target clearance is 0.23. So 0.23 is 0.3 out and 0.03 sorry, in from the exhaust clearances. And I just checked, and these are correct. Okay, and this is going to be posted on the YouTube video in the description, and I've also put it into words, if that works better for some people, and they'll be able to like print it out, whatever, and have it in their hands or whatnot if they wanted to. Okay, and so right, so we come back here, the orange and the red. Basically pretty straightforward. I took the shims from the factory that were in the bike already, and then I'm reusing those shims and then new shims that I need, but putting them where they're needed, and that'll save you a few bucks. These are pretty sure they're like $8 each, so you're saving $16 there. Okay, and that's how you do valve clearance adjustment. Now I also have this for you guys as well. Per manual, you're supposed to replace the seals and the gaskets. Now the thing is, you're supposed to do this at 23,000 miles, because that's when the valve clearance adjustment is required. The problem with that is that if you ride your bike very aggressively, always at high RPMs like I do, then your valve clearance adjustment is gonna come sooner, and you will know sooner, because like I said in the beginning, I might have not mentioned this, but you know your valve clearance, you know you need a valve clearance adjustment when you started hearing hissing, when the bike's starting to have a rough start, you're getting poor gas mileage and things like that. So that's why I did my valve clearance adjustment at 17,000 miles, and as you can see, the exhaust clearances is way out of whack. Yeah, I should be having like 0.2 at the most clearance. Okay, so since those are whack, you gotta do them. Now, per manual, you need to replace all the seals and the gaskets, and these are all the seals and the gaskets, also hose clips that you need to replace per manual instructions. And here are the part numbers as well, so it's right there, it's available to you guys. Use it, but keep in mind that you're doing the valve clearance adjustment early, so some of these you won't necessarily need to change. Some of them are perfectly okay to put it back in the bike. Although I think the head gasket, you'll see it, you'll know. I think you should replace those regardless, because I've heard so many people having problems with leaking head gaskets, and it's just, you don't want that. You don't want oil leaking out of your head. So just replace it. Of course, this is my opinion. Your bike might be different, it might look different, so you guys do whatever you gotta do. Okay, but I'm gonna be replacing the head gasket, no matter if it looks okay or not. Okay, and then these are the fluids that you're gonna need to use while you're doing your valve clearance adjustment. Not while you do, like when you, to get to the valves, you gotta take all these things off Now to install them, you're going to need all of this. So 3-bond is basically like it's telling you, this is like it's just basically like cover gasket maker. And I wrote here a note that basically you're gonna want to use like a sealant or a grease just for keeping the gasket on the head when you're installing it. It's the only reason for it. There is no need to put a gasket maker on the gaskets, on the header gasket, because you don't actually need it. The gasket does just fine by itself, keeping your fluids in the bike. And so I have some Permatex, which is like a sealant, a gasket sealant, and you're going to use that as little as possible just to keep the gasket onto the cover so you can install it. And you can see here that the reason why I did it is doing it this way instead of gasket maker is because you don't want gasket maker falling into your engine and possibly clogging oil holes. So next we have lithium soap base grease. That's basically like WD-40. I use WD-40 white lithium grease. You can get it at any store, any department store, anywhere. Like the Permatex, I got that at Napa. The white lithium grease, Napa. Then moving on, Loctite. You want 262 or 263. Doesn't really matter which one, but basically it's Loctite that's above or at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, because your bike only goes to, it doesn't get to it. The bike gets hot, yes, but it doesn't get as hot as 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. So, and it says here, requires heat and refer removal. That's what it says on the actual bottom. Moving on. Oh, and I got Loctite at Napa as well. Then you want to get some silicone fluid. Any silicone fluid, doesn't matter. And then engine oil, which is 15W50 or 10W40. I'd like to use a little thicker viscosity. My opinion. I have reasons for it. Reasons would be, I don't know, it's just a little thicker oil. Puts a little less wear on the parts. You can read up a little bit more about it, but I just like thicker oil in my bike. And yeah. So then molybdenum disulfide oil. That's basically any assembly lube. And the assembly lube I'm using is Maxima Racing Oil's Professional Assembly Lube. The reason why I chose this one is not a great reason. I chose it because it was red and it looked cool. So there you go. So those are all the fluids that you need. You can basically get them anywhere, any department store. I specifically got most of these: the molybdenum oil, the silicone, the Loctite, the lithium, and the Permatex, all at Napa. So it shouldn't be hard to find them. Okay, moving on. Right here is the extra parts, the performance parts that I'm putting on my bike. Okay. As you can see here, we got the power commander, which is fantastic if anybody wants to upgrade their bike, add some more performance, better revs, better throttle control, smoother ride. If any of you guys want that, you get a power commander, okay? Or you can get like a flash tune or flasher ECU. But yeah, 340 bucks. Bought it from Cycle Gear. There's a link if you want it. And the note required if adding an aftermarket exhaust or an air filter. I am putting a K&N race air filter, which is going to change the fueling, and the power commander keeps up with that fueling. Okay, and now for personal reasons, I have not gotten the Delkevic slip-on decat exhaust. I will be getting it at some point, but not now. Okay, and then you got your spark plugs. I think this is supposed to be $33. Let's check. 13.8. Nobody's perfect, guys. Nobody's perfect. Alright. So this is actually 55.62. Okay. Yeah, get a Walmart. You know, this is the cheapest I could find. I'm sure you could find it at other places. And this is the spark plug that you need, LMAR9EJ. That's a spark plug that fits your bike. Now, I've tried to find iridium spark plugs for the Yamaha FZ10, but I haven't been able to find anything. So if anybody has a tip or knows something or seen something about iridium spark plugs for the Yamaha FZ10, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know. Okay, moving on. Engine ice coolant. This coolant is rated number 2 for racing coolants, considered premium. We'll just go to this site. Okay, eBay, 22 bucks, half a gallon. You get 2 of them. 4 gallons, because it's like 2.24 quarts or something that you need for your bike, and then like 0.25 quarts for your reservoir. So just get 2 of them. And then yeah, and then so K&N race air filter from Revzilla. Pretty expensive, honestly. I mean, I thought they were going to be a little cheaper, but whatever. So this, there's a video. I forgot what it's called. I don't know what it is, but there was a video of a guy who tested out this race air filter on a dyno compared to stock, and the dynoing the new air filter, and they came out with like 2 horsepower more, something like that. Yeah, no, I love that. If you want more power, you get an air filter. Okay, there's that. Then there's the oil filter. Honestly, just buy an oil filter, bike specific. This is the cheapest one I could find that fit the FZ10. So yeah, just get anyone. It's cheap enough. And then engine oil, I use Motul. I don't know how to say it. 300V 15W 50 oil. Okay. This is considered. It is said that this is racing oil per se. It's green. I love it. It looks cool. works well. I used it on my CBR 600 on my last bike. Loved it. Fantastic. And what's great about it is it's green, right? So when it gets dirty, you'll be able to tell a lot better because it'll be like black or whatever, and then you'll know like you got to change it. So this stuff is awesome. Love it. Okay, it's what I get. So there we go. A few things about. So to recap, valve clear, parts that you'll need per the manual to replace, the fluids you're gonna need while you're reinstalling everything, some of the parts that I'm getting for my bike personally, okay, and the actual procedure of the valve clearance adjustment, and then some notes as well, restating how to do this. So I hope people find this helpful, and yeah, I'd love to know what people think. Maybe some suggestions on how to make it better. Maybe I missed something. I'd love to hear it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.